Big health scare, bad news too. Boar's Head CDC confirming 6 new deaths as a result of the nationwide Listeria outbreak. It has been tied to Boar's Head deli meats, bringing the death toll now in all to 9 across 18 states and more than 50 people hospitalized. So the meat inspectors found mold, dead flies, and water just dripping all over the meat at a plant in Virginia. In fact, a detective in Maryland also put 2 and 2 together and had traced the outbreak back to that plant. So again, it has turned fatal. I'm pleased to have in now an internist, custom care medical, Dr. Frank Contachessa, good friend of the program. Good to see you, Dr. Frank.
Great to see you, Bianca.
Well, we hear about these outbreaks from time to time, but this seems, one that is pretty widespread. You've got 18 states. A food safety lawyer now says Congress has to come in and investigate because there's 3 years of inspection reports with all these health violations in Virginia. What do people need to know first and foremost? Obviously, they hear this headline in the news. Is there any way they could have protected themselves, though?
Well, Bianca, something here failed. The system failed. These inspections have been happening, and apparently they've been getting bad reports about this factory. As you said, flies, ants, blood dripping in puddles, horrific conditions. So somebody seemed to have known about it, but nothing was done about it. So, you typically trust a brand like Boar's Head. I mean, we try not to eat a lot of cold cuts, but when we do, we usually trust a brand like Boar's Head. So there's not much I think a consumer can do other than try to eat healthy diet and don't eat too much cold cuts. Typically, Listeria is killed by cooking, but you don't cook cold cuts.
Right.
So this is where we need something like, listen, I'm a small government guy, but this is something where the government can help with inspections of plants like this. We do need to keep in mind the vast majority of people, if you were exposed to Listeria, aren't even going to get sick.
Right. Listeria
affects very old, very young, and very sick people, immunocompromised, and pregnant women. So pregnant women, this is when you're pregnant. They say don't eat these kinds of foods when you're pregnant. This is the reason why.
It's really good advice. Dr. Frank. I just want to ask you about one other big health story that's making some headlines there. I want to get your perspective. It's a new study, the New England Journal of Medicine, very reputable, says that there is a simple blood test, 3-prong blood test, and it can predict a patient's risk of a heart attack. They're saying heart attack and stroke 30 years ahead of time. This sounds like an incredible advance in medicine, and a lot of folks, of course, suffer from heart issues. It's one of the biggest issues that people have. What do you make of this?
Well, this is a good story, and what's happening is we're starting to shift our views on the simplicity of just checking your cholesterol and your LDL, and if your LDL is high, then you should be on a statin like Lipitor or Crestor. It's a lot more nuanced and complicated than that. So this panel of blood tests, actually 2 of these 3 I routinely do. The 3rd I do when someone is in a high-risk situation, but it shows levels of inflammation, and it shows levels of a particular protein that carries fat. So these indicators can point out someone where you need to be more aggressive in getting them to a cardiologist, getting them a stress test or other methods to be more aggressively preventing heart disease in these people. So this is actually a really good thing. I'm already doing a lot of these things, but most doctors aren't yet because they haven't really hit the mainstream yet, but they will.
Right. Well, either people can come see you, but at least now they know it exists, and you have to advocate to get the best health for you and your loved ones there. So now at least it's on their radar.
You can ask your doctor to perform these. These are inexpensive routine tests. These are not specialty tests that have to go to a special lab or anything like that.
And to know 30 years ahead of time, what an amazing piece of knowledge there. Dr. Frank Contachessa, always great to see you. Come back soon, okay?
Thank you, Bianca.
Thank you.